Hi there, and thanks very much for tuning into the Explaining History YouTube channel. I want to talk a little bit about the relationship between Stalin and Mao. They had 4 years together, really, from 1949, when Mao became the leader of Communist China, to 1953, when Stalin died. Mao was a great admirer of Stalin and saw how Stalin, in his eyes, had transformed the Soviet Union from a backward agrarian empire into a modern socialist superpower. And Mao, in Stalin's eyes, was considered far more suspect. Mao deviated from Marxist Leninism. Mao saw China's peasants as being the main source of revolutionary power for China. Mao said that essentially the Soviet Union had industrialization and the West had technology, and so the China, to make up for this, had its people being the peasants, and once the peasants could all be moved en masse, then they could accomplish great things. They could accomplish the industrialization and modernization of China. And Mao also believed that, as most of the world's population was peasant at that point, that the peasantry offered a great revolutionary potential around the world, which is entirely disputed by Stalin, and deviationism and a desire by other communist leaders to take non-Stalinist ideological positions did not go down very well. So in 1949, late 1949, following the Chinese victory in the communist victory in the Chinese Civil War, Mao, Chou Enlai, and a entourage of Chinese communist leaders travelled all the way to Moscow down the Trans-Siberian Railway to take part in Stalin's birthday celebrations. Stalin snubs Mao. He makes him wait and treats him as a kind of a second-class citizen. Mao's ego does not take to this very well. Mao is very angry, feels very badly treated, and Mao is also resentful for the fact that for much of the Second World War, Stalin had supported his enemy, Chiang Kai-shek, and Stalin had essentially said, well, I'd probably rather have a nationalist strongman over the border than a potential revolutionary rival for the leadership of the communist world, especially a rival like Mao who thinks very different things to me. So it's only towards the end of the Civil War, from 1946 onwards, that Mao and the communists start to receive help from Stalin, and then right at the end of the war, significant aid, as it looks like America is losing heart in Chiang Kai-shek, and Stalin can avoid a head-on confrontation with the United States. So there were mixed feelings there. There was admiration, there was also resentment, there was suspicion of Mao by Stalin, but also a wondering whether there could be some kind of possibility there, some kind of potential in China. And Stalin was always on interest to see what the Soviet Union could get from China. They were interested in rare earths, antimony, tungsten, things like that, that could be transported from China, which could be found in large quantities there, for Soviet heavy industry and manufacturing, and particularly military manufacturing, and use of access to Manchuria, and use of the former Tsarist seaport, treaty port in China, Port Arthur, giving the Soviet Union access to the Pacific. So Stalin was always on the lookout for things that he could have from China, and this is part of the 1950 trade deal that he signs with China, which sees Soviet advisors and heavy industry and loans go to China, but the Soviets really get the better half of the deal on that one. And following Stalin's death in 1953, as we've talked about in other videos, and I'll talk about again, the relationships between the Soviet Union and the People's Republic of China take a swift nosedive. Anyway, I hope you found that useful and interesting. Subscribe to this channel for more handy videos on history, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks, bye-bye.